Imagine a place right at the very edge of the world, where the wildness isn't just, around you in the landscape, but it's within you too, shaping every single choice, every desperate act of survival. Today we're taking a deep dive into a story that really asks us what we'd fight for when the world itself seems to be falling apart. Not just metaphorically, but uh, literally falling apart at the seams. Okay, so let's unpack this. Our source material today comes from excerpts of Charlotte McConaghy's really powerful, deeply moving novel, Wild Dark Shore. And our mission with this deep dive is basically to offer you a comprehensive summary. We want to get into its compelling narrative, its unforgettable characters, and the urgent, resonant themes woven all through these pages. Think of this as your shortcut, maybe, to understanding the heart of this incredible story. We're extracting those key nuggets of knowledge, those insights that leave you well-informed and, well, perhaps a little changed by its raw honesty.
And what a backdrop for this kind of story. We are immediately transported to Shearwater Island. It's this remote subantarctic research station just off the wild coast of Tasmania. It's a place of absolute breathtaking natural wonder. You can almost feel the sea spray, hear the gulls. It's teeming with unique wildlife, seals, penguins, incredibly rare plants. But all this beauty is constantly, overshadowed by its immense vulnerability. This isn't just some remote outpost. It's actually a site of global significance. Because here, humanity's last hope for survival, quite literally the future of our food supply, the planet's genetic diversity, it's all held in a frozen vault. So the setting constantly reminds us of both the profound beauty and excruciating fragility of life on every scale.
Absolutely, and the author just throws you right into this world, this precarious existence where this monumental fight for the planet's future is playing out in the intimate struggles of just one family basically clinging to existence. And this whole narrative, it's largely seen through the lens of one woman's mysterious and really dramatic arrival. It's a journey into resilience, definitely, into the depths of grief and into the defiant necessary act of finding hope when everything seems desolate. Right, so the story kicks off with this truly visceral, dramatic scene. It just pulls you right in. A woman, who we later learn is Rowan, is discovered washed ashore on Shearwater Island. And the initial description of her is, well, it's stark, unsettling. We're told she's scalding to the touch, writhing, making these sounds that frighten all of us. Just imagine that. A storm-battered island, a family already struggling, right on the edge, and then this stranger, almost like a force of nature herself, just appears, bringing her own storm with her. What does that immediate physical state tell us about the ordeal she must have just been through?
Oh, it speaks volumes, doesn't it? The sheer extremity of her condition immediately signals this is no ordinary arrival. And the process of treating her wounds, it's described in such vivid, almost clinical detail, using tweezers to painstakingly pluck out fragments of cloth from her body. That suggests not just an accident, but something violent, destructive. Her face is clenched and angular, her head is shaved, her limbs lean and strong. It's clearly a body built for endurance, for survival. But it's been pushed to its absolute limit. And when she does wake up, the pain isn't just a sensation, it's described as an ocean, then this intensifying sting, then a consuming fire.
Yeah.
And those memory fragments she has being lifted, carried, dumped into the sea, feeling like a tiny thing in the mouth of a beast, they paint this terrifying picture of overwhelming forces, whether natural or something else. Her shock at her own body's weakness, a body she, took pleasure in making strong, it's really palpable. It immediately highlights her inner strength, despite how frail she seems right then.
And those first interactions she has with the islanders, they're just as telling, aren't they? They immediately set the tone for the brutal realities of this place. You've got 9-year-old Orly, who, despite being scared at first, begs to stay and help. He shows this remarkable, almost innocent curiosity and compassion. It's quite striking in such a harsh environment.
It is.
But then there's Dom, the father. His first words to Rowan are just jarring, almost brutal. You should be dead. It's incredibly blunt, almost cruel in how direct it is. What does that kind of brutal honesty, or maybe it's brutal dehumanization, reveal about the extreme cost of survival on Shearwater? How it forces them to, reevaluate basic human compassion.
It just strips away all pretense, doesn't it? On an island where every resource is finite, every life is this calculation of contribution versus consumption, well, sentimentality is a luxury they just can't afford. Dom's words aren't just a statement of fact. They reflect a mindset honed by constant scarcity, the immediate need to assess burden or asset. It also creates this immediate intrigue around Rowan. Her past is just shrouded in mystery from the get-go. When Dom asks where she came from, Rowan just says, I don't know. It's not just a lack of information, it feels like a deep psychological scar, suggesting trauma so profound it's erased her recent history. The only immediate clue to her identity or her past life beyond her name, Rowan, which Dom finds out later, is this phone case. It's decorated with pressed and dried botanicals.
What?
And it turns out it belonged to her husband, Hank. This small, natural detail connecting to the vibrant world she seems to have lost, it hints at a life left behind. Or maybe a life violently taken from her. It's subtle, but it's powerful foreshadowing, a quiet contrast to the harshness of her present situation.
So beyond Rowan's mysterious past, the island itself, and especially the lighthouse, plays such a central role. It's fascinating how McConaghy paints the lighthouse. It's both a refuge and, well, kind of a cage. It's described as this cramped and crooked room with low ceilings, heavy wooden beams, stone walls and floor. There's an old dark green velvet couch, packed bookshelves. You can almost feel the history, the comfort of stories in those walls.
Yeah, you get that sense.
Yet despite that cozy description, it's not really a warm sanctuary, is it? The fireplace, the traditional heart of a home, it's boarded up in favor of an electric heater. It feels almost like a metaphor for their whole existence, doesn't it? A place designed to guide, but now it's struggling just to keep itself warm.
Precisely. It perfectly symbolizes their profound isolation, their precariousness. That boarded-up fireplace, it's a small detail, but it speaks volumes about losing traditional comforts, relying on increasingly unreliable modern solutions. And that detail points straight to the dire power situation they're facing. We learn that all the solar cells, half the batteries, and both the wind turbines could go at the same time, just kaput.
Wow.
Their only remaining option is the diesel. But even that is running out. Dom laments, normally we'd be straight on the radio to the mainland calling for help. But this isn't normal. The island's isolation isn't just geographical. It's this constant suffocating presence. It makes their survival a daily, minute-by-minute calculation. It perfectly illustrates how surviving in remote places is all about setting up contingencies and how, well, they run out of them. Every decision, every action, it's weighted by this looming energy crisis. It adds another layer of anxiety to an already desperate situation.
Which brings us right to the heart of the family calling this lighthouse home, the Salts. Dom, the stoic father, and his 3 kids, Raph, Finn, and Orly. They've clearly had to adapt to this harsh, isolated environment where every day really is all about setting up contingencies. And we immediately see Dom's profound hidden grief for his deceased wife, Claire. He actually talks to her. In his wardrobe, it's this poignant, heartbreaking ritual, this desperate clinging to a past that haunts him.
So sad.
He dreams he's out on a ship at sea, and I was up here watching for her. And if I could just keep the light on, I'd shore the way home. This isn't just grief, it's him desperately clinging to purpose, the hope of guiding her back. It reveals the deep, persistent wound of his loss and how it intertwines with his very role as a lighthouse keeper, even a redundant one.
And the children, they each play these distinct, vital roles in this precarious little ecosystem. They're shaped by their environment, by their father's grief. Raph, the eldest, he's the protective older brother. A pragmatic soul who studies his textbooks so carefully, going over lines half a dozen times before he moves on. Yet he also offers these rare moments of beauty amidst all the hardship by playing the fiddle. This dual nature, the scholar and the artist, it's fascinating. Fenn, the middle child, she's the independent one, deeply connected to the island's wildlife, especially the seals. She finds solace, understanding in the natural world that seems largely indifferent to human despair. And Orly, the youngest, he's the curious botanist, almost preternaturally intelligent about the natural world. A child who truly seems to see the magnitude of their job there. His innocent yet profound insights actually help Dom find meaning in being there. Their individual strengths, their coping mechanisms, they're clearly essential for their collective fragile survival. It's a real testament to how families adapt, how they specialize when faced with overwhelming odds.
Okay, so at the absolute core of Shearwater Island, quite literally buried deep beneath the ground, lies the Shearwater Global Seed Vault. And this isn't just any vault. It's presented as humanity's last desperate hope. The text describes it as built to withstand anything the world could throw at it. It was meant to outlast humanity, to live on into the future, just in case people needed to regrow from scratch the food supply that sustains us. The very concept is both. Well, awe-inspiring and terrifying at the same time.
It is, and what's striking is the sheer scale of its purpose compared to the tiny size of its contents. Specks, most of them, tiny little black dots. These microscopic treasures are kept buried in boxes below ground down here in the arse end of the world, holding the last hope of their kinds, but also of our kind. It's such a powerful image. The future of all life encapsulated in something so small, so seemingly insignificant. And the vault's ownership by the United Nations, its management by the Tasmanian Parks and Wildlife Service, that highlights its global significance. Yet it's administered by this fragile local authority. This dichotomy between grand global ambition and fragile local execution is definitely a recurring theme. It subtly raises questions about who really protects our future.
But despite its grand, almost mythical purpose, the vault itself is in this devastating crisis. Its power is down. And while it's supposed to be at least several weeks before it warms up to a critical temperature, the terrifying reality is that the permafrost around it is melting.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. Water is trickling in from every angle, creating new cracks daily. Dom reveals the vault is actually being shut down. The seeds are being moved to a smaller seed bank on the mainland. This isn't just a logistical problem. It's the imminent demise of this supposed last hope. It sets this deeply unsettling tone that echoes the broader environmental collapse happening outside the island. And we quickly learn this news clearly bothers Hank, Rowan's husband, whose presence is increasingly felt even though he's not there, foreshadowing his own personal descent.
It's fascinating how the natural environment of Shearwater Island isn't just a static setting. It's intricately woven into the very destinies, the personalities of the characters. Take Fen, for instance. Pup season is her favorite time of year. A period of immense joy for her, where she watches mother seals nuzzle and lick their young, forming these deep, almost familial bonds. She, along with Alex, a scientist who studies fur seals, actually names them, like King Brown. This intimate connection stands in such stark contrast to the grim history of sealers who clubbed all the seals they could find, and in this truly horrifying detail, would stuff the penguins into those barrels alive to boil all their oils out.
Oh, that's awful.
It is. This grim history is this constant dark undercurrent to Fen's empathy. It underscores the brutality humans are capable of, juxtaposed with the profound, innocent empathy of a childlike Fen who chooses to connect rather than exploit.
And young Orley's love for botany, it provides some of the most insightful moments in the book, almost philosophical in their simplicity, their wisdom. He shares his seed intelligence insights, like the incredible story of the mangrove seed. Instead of just falling, it alters its density to survive and travel for maybe a year, sometimes thousands of kilometers, before it finally puts down roots.
Wow, nature's amazing.
Isn't it? He also talks about the dandelion as an important food source for insects and birds, even though it's considered a weed, highlighting the value in what we often just dismiss. And then there's the buzzy burr, whose hooked seeds clutch onto feathers to travel on a wandering albatross, demonstrating nature's ingenuity.
Mm-hmm.
These stories aren't just charming little anecdotes. They highlight nature's incredible resilience, its adaptability. They offer these subtle yet profound lessons in survival that Orley, with his bright, observant curiosity, truly gets. He sees a world that is constantly adapting and finding a way. He's like a quiet beacon of hope in their collapsing world.
And this profound connection to the natural world, its cycles of destruction and renewal, it raises this really important question about the cost of love, especially in a world of constant impending danger. It's a question Rowan grapples with deeply because of her own traumatic past. She talks about building this fire-resistant house and garden in the snowy mountains, investing so much hope, so much labor into creating a safe haven, only for a bushfire to come through and brutally remind her that everything burns if it's hot enough. This personal tragedy isn't just a memory, it's a defining trauma. It deeply influences her views on risk, on the very desire for children. She fears she can't have children that I may not be able to keep safe.
That's heavy.
It's a profound, almost paralyzing fear, a direct result of her experience with overwhelming loss. It forces her to question the very possibility of opening her heart again, you know?
And Dom, the patriarch of the Salt family, he embodies a different kind of resilience, one built on ingenuity and the heavy burden of responsibility. He patiently explains the marvel of the Fresnel lens in the lighthouse, how it maintained the curve you need to focus the light, but it cut away the excess material and stopped the light from getting absorbed by the lens itself.
Clever design.
Yeah. It's almost a metaphor for stripping away the unnecessary to focus on what truly matters. He humbly admits he's not the sharpest tool in the toolbox, but he was curious. He diligently learned about the lens and the arduous and lonely life of a lighthouse keeper, a role he inherited from his family. He's often up there in the lighthouse, meticulously cleaning the glass of the lens, despite it having no light to beam. This isn't just some quirk. It's a profound act of defiance against the dying light, a stubborn clinging to the idea of purpose, even when the purpose itself has vanished.
Right, like a ritual.
Exactly. And the punching bag, which was initially meant to help Raph with his temper, it also serves as this raw, physical outlet for Dom's own rage and loneliness, a place to punch his body empty of the weight he carries.
So, as the island's physical environment deteriorates, pushing everyone to their limits, so too does the mental state of one of its most critical figures, Hank, Rowan's husband. We learn that his mental decline was, well, terrifyingly visible. You can trace it through his emails, which were short, erratic, full of errors, sometimes changing subject mid-sentence. Rowan could see him spiraling on the page, a desperate plea for help, but she couldn't reach him, couldn't reach his distant colleagues.
Oh, man.
It's a chilling reminder of how isolation can just accelerate someone's unraveling.
And it's compelling how the author portrays his progression to a full-blown psychotic episode. In this state, this profound break, Hank declares, "We're all fucked. We're dead. Everything is dead. All life. Drowned, burned, or starved." He's just consumed by the very despair the vault was meant to protect against.
Exactly. And in this desperate, almost nihilistic act, he tries to destroy the very hope he was meant to protect. He starts throwing packets into the ocean. This forces the truly impossible decision to contain him. In a storage room beneath the vault described as a cement hole, worse than a prison cell, but chillingly the only secure place on the whole island.
Wow.
Dom's struggle with this decision is immense. It's a crushing moral burden driven primarily by his desperate need to protect Fen after Hank terrifyingly tried to drown her. It just highlights the impossible choices these characters are forced to make, pushing the boundaries of what's considered humane for the greater desperate good.
And the tragedies just keep mounting, don't they? Each one peeling back another layer of their fragile reality. Alex, Raph's close friend and Tom's brother, he dies in this devastating sudden event.
Well, yeah, the wave.
Yeah, plunging into the rough ocean, mad with terror and with grief after his hut was just swept away by a colossal wave during a storm. Raph, who saw it happen, recalls Alex saying, right before it happened, "We're leaving in a couple of months, and then that'll be it. And everything here is nuts, and I just want him to have a nice birthday."
Oh, heartbreaking.
It's just stark, isn't it? A reminder of how quickly life can be extinguished in this unforgiving place, how easily plans and dreams are just washed away, leaving only that raw ache of loss and unfulfilled futures.
And then the full devastating truth about Hank's death finally comes out. Dom reveals that Hank, in his troubled, desperate state, had actually managed to leave his passport. He was fleeing for his life, abandoning everything. His mission, Rowan...
He was trying to leave.
Yeah. But he died in his makeshift prison, that cement hole beneath the vault. A chilling irony, really. He became a victim of the very permafrost melt he was trying to prevent the seeds from succumbing to. The reality of his death, not by direct human action, but by the very forces of nature he feared and fought against, adds another layer of tragic complexity.
God.
This leads to the hidden, agonizing burial, where Dom and Rowan have to dig up Hank's body, finding him simply wrapped in a sheet. Rowan reflects on the immense burden Hank must have felt, forced into this impossible ethical dilemma, deciding whether to let biodiversity die in favor of what humans can eat. It's a profound, almost biblical moral challenge that ultimately consumed him, and it's a question the novel really poses to all of us, I think.
In the face of all this despair, this mounting catastrophe and grief, the Salt family resorts to these desperate measures, each acting in their own way to cope and perhaps find a new, fragile path forward. Fen, in this deeply symbolic and honestly shocking act, decides to burn her mother, Claire's, belongings.
Right, everything.
It's a literal and emotional cleansing, a violent severing of the past. She believes, fundamentally, all she knows is that her dad must be freed of his ghost. This isn't just destruction. It's a raw, defiant act meant to give Dom and Rowan a chance, to give them all a chance for something new, to try and break free from the past's hold.
And Raph's reaction to Fen's act is equally powerful, a moment of profound breaking that actually leads to potential liberation for him. He smashes his hydrophone, this precious thing his dad saved up and gifted him, this tool of scientific observation that now seems completely meaningless in the face of such overwhelming chaos. He realizes he can't go on like this.
Yeah.
It's such a visceral expression of the acute emotional toll the island's isolation, the family secrets, the escalating tragedies have taken. This act of destruction, like Fenn's, it's a desperate attempt to clear the slate, to force a change when no other path seems viable.
But amidst all this human breakdown, this environmental collapse, there's this truly miraculous moment of collective action. Defiance, almost a moment of grace, you could say. The whale rescue.
Oh, yes, the whales. Incredible scene.
Two majestic humpback whales, a mother and a baby, wash up on the black sand beach. Stranded, slowly dying. Despite being too few bodies, one of them a child, Dom, Rowan, Raph, Fenn, and Orly collectively managed to pull the massive baby whale back into the ocean, an almost impossible feat against its immense weight to treacherous current.
It's amazing they even tried.
It is. And the mother whale's implied sacrifice.
Yeah.
She pulls herself to the side, angling that massive body away from them when she sees them beneath her, basically allowing the baby to survive and swim away. It's truly miraculous. It's this extraordinary act of interspecies compassion, echoing that story Alex had told Raph about humpbacks protecting gray whale calf. It wasn't even their own kind.
Right.
This profound event, happening against all odds, demonstrates that even in the darkest moments, compassion and collective action can transcend species, transcend despair. It offers this potent, albeit fragile, flicker of hope.
And despite that overwhelming sense of loss, the encroaching natural disasters' new, fragile connection do begin to forge. They offer this glimmer of hope. The developing intimacy between Rowan and Dom is a central, deeply human theme in the later parts of the novel. Rowan restores the old dining table, a symbol of domesticity, stability, revealing it's a lovely piece of old Tasmanian oak. She finds this quiet, comforting rhythm working with the wood, feeling unburdened by memory, by responsibility, by loss. This shared vulnerability, working side by side on the vault repairs, it creates an intimacy so blazing it is very difficult to ignore, to undo. Their unspoken understanding, the quiet glances, the shared burdens, it leads to this unfulfilled want that hangs tantalizingly between them. It's underscored by Dom's ambiguous little phrases like, "Good night, darling, love you." It's a tender, complicated connection, isn't it? Born not really from romance, but from shared hardship, shared loss, and the desperate need for human warmth in this cold, dying world.
Yeah, definitely complex. And we see profound transformation in the children, too, particularly Fenn. Seeking lightness, liberation from the immense weight of her grief and the island's experiences, she asks Rowan to shave her head.
A big moment.
Huge. It's an act of defiance, a shedding of the old, a literal lightening. The image of the bald twins laughing together, sharing wine straight from the bottle, staining their mouths. It's such a powerful moment of shared rebellion and freedom. It's a raw, authentic burst of joy and connection in a world that's constantly trying to break them. A symbolic rebirth, really, and a profound bond between the adult and the child, signifying hope in a really unexpected place.
This also leads to Dom's profound realization that he and his children have forged an unbreakable four. A bond born not of idyllic circumstances, but of shared adversity, the raw necessity of survival. He reflects on how his children, in this beautiful reversal of roles, actually stepped forward to save him after Claire's death. Learning to care for Orly, how they changed nappies and fed bottles and loved him, purely and without resentment. This deep reciprocal love, this mutual nurturing, it formed a bond stronger than any hardship, stronger than any traditional definition of family. It's a real testament to the resilience of human connection when everything else is stripped away.
And as a testament to this resilience and to the enduring spirit of the island itself, they collectively create this truly powerful symbol. A huge, rudimentary metal penguin made from scavenged tools.
The sculpture, right?
Yeah, this isn't just a piece of art. It's a profound statement, a defiant act of creation in a world of destruction. It's something to sit on this beach that doesn't hold death within it. A stark, beautiful contrast to those sealer's barrels of boiled penguin oil we heard about earlier.
Good point.
This sculpture acts as a call, a kind of reaching back for all the penguins who came before. It's a monument to what was lost, to what must be remembered and defended.
Yeah.
It's a physical embodiment of their defiance, and a beautiful, stark representation of hope, born right out of despair.
The novel then turns its gaze towards the future, exploring these fragile seeds of hope for a new home, a new beginning. The ongoing effort to save the remaining seeds from the vault continues. The kids finish their sorting duty. Dom and Rowan keep going with repairs. This perseverance is itself a testament to their resilience, even as they have to acknowledge the vault's inevitable demise because of the relentless melting permafrost, the increasing moisture. It's a race against time where success isn't guaranteed, but the effort is just ceaseless.
But it's young Orly, with his innocent wisdom and incredible passion, who truly provides a beacon for their future. He expresses this strong desire to live in Tasmania because of its diversity of the vegetation. He gets all excited mentioning the Lomatia tasmanica, this clone plant that is propagated for 43,600 years.
It's incredible.
And the mountain ash, one of the world's tallest trees. His incredible passion for the natural world, its sheer, enduring resilience, becomes this powerful guiding light for the family's next steps. It offers a tangible vision of a future rooted in life, not just survival.
And what's truly powerful here is how the children, despite everything they've endured, extend this offer of profound generosity to Rowan, an almost radical openness. They offer to help her replant and rebuild your home in the snowy mountains. The very place she thought was utterly lost to fire, the source of her deepest fear and trauma.
That's amazing.
It demonstrates their immense openness, their compassion, transcending their own grief and struggles to offer a shared future. It's a remarkable act of love from children who have lost so much themselves.
And it brings Rowan to her ultimate pivotal choice. Despite the continuing dangers of the world, despite her past fears about not being able to keep children safe, she chooses to embrace love, connection. She articulates this profound realization. What is the use of safety if it deprives you of everything else? This isn't just a simple statement. It's the core philosophical turning point for her, I think.
Absolutely.
She decides to stay, confirming that she will always love Orly, Raph, and Fen, even if she is not your mom. It's a powerful, defiant statement that choosing connection over absolute safety is the most profound act of survival, and perhaps the only way to truly live in a world defined by loss.
And finally, the story reveals this hidden layer to Shearwater Island itself, a secret beauty that speaks to nature's enduring power. These unseen worlds of underwater forests, of kelp that surround its shores. These aren't just, seaweed. They are vibrant, thriving ecosystems with their own canopies and forest floors, home to thousands of species. It's a testament to nature's enduring power and hidden beauty, even in the most desolate corners of the world.
And it's within these magnificent submerged worlds that we learn a crucial detail. Fenn's seals found refuge from the storm within these kelp forests, even the vulnerable little ones.
Wow.
It emphasizes nature's inherent resilience, the quiet, hidden wonders that persist even in the harshest conditions, when the world above seems to be just falling apart. It reminds us that life, in all its forms, finds a way to endure, to adapt, to take shelter, both within humanity and in the wild, unseen depths of the ocean. So what does this all mean? Wild Dark Shore, it's a profound, deeply resonant journey, isn't it? From despair, overwhelming loss, to discovering new forms of connection, family, and this fragile hope in the face of what seem like insurmountable odds. It's a story that tells us that even when the world literally feels like it's drowning or burning, the most potent, the most defiant force is the human capacity for love, for compassion, for stubborn resilience, and for finding beauty even in the ruins.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the story really challenges you, the listener, to consider the true value of human connection, of compassion, in a world that's grappling with environmental collapse. It's not just about the external threats, the melting permafrost, the raging storms, but the internal strength, the choices we make to care for each other, to protect what little hope remains, and to forge family bonds that defy traditional definitions of blood or place. It asks us to look beyond the immediate catastrophe and find meaning in forging new relationships, both human and with the natural world.
And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The book masterfully weaves deeply personal grief and intimate family drama with these grand global ecological concerns. It makes the sweeping, often overwhelming themes of climate change, species extinction, it makes them feel intimately relatable by showing how they impact the daily lives, the complex relationships, the very mental state of this small group of people just trying to survive at the edge of the world. It's a real testament to the power of storytelling to make the abstract feel profoundly personal.
Which raises an important question for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. Wild Dark Shore invites you to reflect on your own concept of home and family, not just in terms of a physical place or blood ties, right? But as the bonds we forge, the courage we find to face unbearable truths, and the desperate, defiant acts of love we choose to make, even when everything seems lost. What would you risk to save not just a species, but maybe a soul?